The stars burned red above Earth. Hyun-woo stood on the bridge of the warship Defiance and watched his home world die. Around him, screens showed the same terrible story. Vraxian ships, hundreds of them, filled the space around Earth like locusts. Their weapons fired again and again. Each blast meant another human ship destroyed, another 1,000 lives gone. "Commander, the Soul has been hit," Ji-won said from her station. Her voice was steady, but Hyun-woo heard the pain underneath. The Soul had been her sister's ship. No survivors. Hyun-woo nodded. He could not let himself feel. Not yet. Not while his people still fought. "Order all remaining ships to form up on our position. Tighten the defensive sphere." The order went out. 17 ships. That was all that remained of humanity's great defense fleet. 3 hours ago, they had 200. The Varaxians had come with thousands. On the main screen, the Varaxian flagship hung in space like a dark mountain. Thalrex commanded from that ship, the Grand Admiral of the Varaxian Empire. He had conquered 47 species before humans. Now he would add humanity to his list of victories. "Sir, incoming transmission from the Varaxian flagship," the communications officer said. "Put it through." The screen changed. Thalrex appeared. He stood tall. His 4 arms crossed over his armored chest. His face was like a lizard's, covered in dark scales. His eyes glowed yellow with satisfaction. "Human commander," Thalrex said. His voice was deep and cold. "Your resistance is admirable but pointless. Surrender now. I will give your people mercy. Quick deaths instead of slow ones." Hyun-woo stared at the alien commander. "You call murder mercy? I call it kindness. Your species is weak. You have no place in the galaxy. Better to end quickly than to suffer." Thalrex leaned forward. "I have studied your race. You value life too much. It makes you soft. It makes you lose." "Maybe," Hyun-woo said quietly. "Or maybe it makes us dangerous in ways you don't understand." Thalrex laughed. It sounded like rocks grinding together. "You have 17 ships. I have 3,000. There is no danger from you. Only death. Accept it." Hyun-woo reached toward the communication controls. "I'll give you the same answer I gave your diplomats 6 months ago. Humanity doesn't surrender. Not to bullies. Not to murderers. Not to you." He cut the transmission. Ji-won looked at him. "That was our last chance to save some lives." "No," Hyun-woo said. "That was never a real chance. Thalrex doesn't give mercy. The Vraxians don't take prisoners. They erase species. You know this." She did know. They all knew. The Vraxians left nothing behind when they conquered. No survivors. No culture. No memory. Just empty worlds, ready for Vraxian colonies. "All ships, listen carefully." Hyun-woo broadcast to the fleet. "We're not going to win this battle. We all know that. But we're not fighting to win. We're fighting to buy time. Every minute we hold them here is another minute for our people to escape, for our colonies to prepare, for the Reaper to wake up." The Reaper. Even saying the name made some of the bridge crew flinch. They knew what it meant. They knew what humanity had built in secret, in the darkest places, far from Earth. "Execute Pattern Omega," Hyun-woo ordered. "All ships. Maximum aggression. We're going to make them remember this day." Pattern Omega was not a defensive formation. It was a death charge. All remaining ships would rush the Varaxian lines. They would ram, detonate, and die fighting. Not because it would win, but because it would cost the Varaxians. Every Varaxian ship destroyed here was one less ship to hunt humanity's colonies. The 17 ships turned as one. Their engines burned bright. They accelerated toward the massive Varaxian fleet. On the Varaxian flagship, Kivara watched the human ship's charge. She was the intelligence officer, responsible for understanding enemy behavior. This made no sense. They're attacking, she said to Thalrex. Fools, Thalrex said. Destroy them. But Kivara kept watching. The human ships weren't trying to survive. They rammed Varaxian vessels. They detonated their reactors next to Varaxian carriers. One human ship, badly damaged, aimed straight for a Varaxian ammunition depot. The explosion destroyed 15 Varaxian ships. They're buying time, Kivara said. But for what? Thalrex waved a hand dismissively. It doesn't matter. They have no reserves, no secret weapons. We monitored their communications for years. We know everything about them. Kivara wasn't so sure. She had studied humans too. They were strange. They cared about individuals but would sacrifice themselves for groups. They valued peace, but studied war constantly. They seemed weak but never stopped fighting. The Defiance shook as Varaxian weapons hit the shields. Hyunwoo gripped his chair. Jiwon, how many ships do we have left? 7, sir. No, 6. The Busan just went down. 6 ships. Hyunwoo looked at his crew. Young faces. Old faces. Men and women who had families on Earth. Families that were probably already dead. Open a secure channel, he ordered. Encryption level maximum. Send to coordinates Delta 7. The communications officer worked quickly. Channel open, sir. Ultra secure. If the Vraxians are listening, they won't break it for days. Hyunwoo spoke clearly into the microphone. This is Commander Hyunwoo. Human Defense Fleet. Earth has fallen. Repeat. Earth has fallen. The Reaper knows. Initiate Protocol Lazarus. I repeat, initiate Protocol Lazarus. The mask goes on. Let them fear the dark. He closed the channel. Around him, the bridge crew stared. They knew about Protocol Lazarus. Some of them had helped plan it. But hearing it activated was different. It meant Earth was truly lost. It meant everything changed now. Sir, Jiwon said softly, my daughter is in the Mars colony. She's only 8. They're going to give her a chance. Hyunwoo interrupted gently. That's all we can do now. Give everyone a chance. Another impact. The Defiance's shields failed. Hull breaches on decks 4 and 5. We're not going to last much longer, the tactical officer reported. Hyunwoo stood up. He walked to the front of the bridge and looked at Earth. His home. Blue and green and beautiful, even with Vraxian ships swarming around it. He had been born in Seoul, learned to walk in a park overlooking the Han River, kissed his wife for the first time under cherry blossoms. All of that was ash now. Then we make our last minutes count, he said. He turned to his crew. It's been an honor serving with you all. G1. Set collision course for the Vraxian flagship. G1 smiled through her tears. With pleasure, sir. The Defiance turned. Its engines burned at maximum power. It accelerated toward Thalrex's massive ship. On the Varaxian flagship, alarms blared. The human command ship is on a collision course. An officer shouted. Thalrex snarled. Destroy it. Now. Weapons fired. The Defiance's armor melted under the assault. But Hyunwoo had aimed well. The ship was already too close, moving too fast. In the last seconds, Hyunwoo looked at G1. Tell me, he said. Do you think the Reaper will make them pay? G1 nodded. I know it will. Because the Reaper is all of us. Everyone who survives. Everyone who remembers. Everyone who refuses to die quietly. The Defiance hit the Varaxian flagship. The reactor detonated. The explosion tore through both ships. Hyunwoo never felt the end. In space above Earth, the last human ships died fighting. The Varaxian fleet took heavy damage, but they won. Earth went silent. The invasion forces landed. Humanity's homeworld fell. In his damaged flagship, Thalrex stood among the ruins of his command center. The human ship had killed half his officers. It would take weeks to repair, but he had won. Earth was his. Broadcast to the Empire, he ordered. Humanity has been defeated. Their home world is ours. Let all species know, resistance is futile. Kivara, injured but alive, watched the celebration begin. But she kept thinking about the human commander's last message. The one they had intercepted but couldn't decode. The Reaper knows. What did that mean? She didn't know yet. But something told her she would find out. And she didn't think she would like the answer. 3 weeks after Earth fell, Sung Ho hid in the ruins of what used to be a shopping center in Seoul. Above ground, Varaxian patrols marched through the streets. Below ground, in the old subway tunnels, humanity's survivors planned their resistance. How many do we have? Sung Ho asked. A young woman named Bo Ra checked her tablet. In this sector? Maybe 200. Across the whole city? We think 3,000. But it's hard to know. The Varaxians are hunting us. Sung Ho nodded. Before the invasion, he had been a police officer. Now he led one of dozens of resistance cells scattered across occupied Earth. The Varaxians controlled the surface, but humans still owned the underground. What about weapons? 17 rifles. Some explosives we made from chemical supplies. A lot of knives and clubs. Bo Ra looked at him with tired eyes. It's not much. No, it's enough to start, Sung Ho said. We're not trying to win battles. We're trying to make them bleed. Make them scared. A runner came through the tunnel. His name was Tae Min, and he was only 16. Sung Ho. The Varaxians grabbed another group. They're doing interrogations at the old city hall. How many prisoners? 10. Maybe 12. Sung Ho closed his eyes. He knew what Varaxian interrogations meant. Pain. Death. But sometimes prisoners talked before they died. Do we know who they caught? Daun was with them. Sung Ho's blood went cold. Daun had been a major in human intelligence. She knew things. Important things. If the Varaxians made her talk, we need to get her out, he said. Or kill her before she breaks. Bo Ra stared at him. That's one of our people. I know. But she knows about Protocol Lazarus. About the Reaper network. If the Varaxians learn about that before we're ready. He didn't finish. They all knew what it meant. At the old city hall, now a Varaxian command post, Thal Rex watched as his soldiers brought in the human prisoners, 12 of them. Dirty, scared, defiant, Kivara stood beside him. The troops found them hiding in a basement. They had weapons. Explosives. Resistance fighters, Thal Rex said. Good. We'll make examples of them. One prisoner was brought forward. A woman in her 40s, with short, dark hair and cold eyes. Even chained. She stood straight. Your name? Thal Rex demanded. The woman said nothing. Thal Rex nodded to a guard. The guard hit her. She fell but didn't cry out. The guard pulled her back up. Your name, Thal Rex repeated. Daun, she said quietly. Major. Human Defense. Intelligence. Kivara's attention sharpened. An intelligence officer. This could be valuable. You will tell us about human military positions, Thal Rex said. About your colonies. About your weapons. Daun laughed. It was a terrible sound, full of pain and dark humor. Because your people keep fighting. Every day. My soldiers die. Your species should accept defeat. But you don't. Why? Daun looked directly at Thal Rex. Because we're human. We don't know how to give up. Thal Rex leaned closer. Everyone breaks eventually. Talk now. Or talk later after much pain. The choice is yours. Daun spat blood on the floor. Do your worst. It won't change anything. He's already coming. Who is coming? Daun smiled. It was not a happy smile. The Reaper. Kivara stepped forward. What is the Reaper? Your end. Daun said simply. Over the next hour, Thal Rex's interrogators worked on the prisoners. They used pain devices, drugs, threats. Some prisoners died. Some went mad. But they all said the same thing when asked about human plans. The Reaper is coming. The Reaper will kill you all. The Reaper never stops. Kivara recorded everything. That night, she went through the data. The prisoners had been too consistent. Even under torture, they all spoke of the Reaper with the same fear and certainty. She accessed Vraxian intelligence files. They had intercepted many human communications during the invasion. She ran a search for the word Reaper. Reaper. Hundreds of results appeared. Messages from human ships. If we fall, the Reaper will avenge us. Civilian broadcasts. Stay strong. The Reaper is awake. Military orders. Initiate protocol. Lazarus. The Reaper knows. Kivara read deeper. The messages painted a picture. The Reaper was humanity's ultimate weapon. A being created in secret. Something that felt no fear, no pain, no mercy. The humans believed it was unstoppable. But there were contradictions. Some reports said the Reaper was a soldier. Others said it was an android. Some said it was a single being. Others hinted at multiple Reapers. Kivara brought her findings to Thal Rex. The prisoners speak of a Reaper, she said. A weapon. I believe it's real. Thal Rex looked at the data. Fear makes them imagine salvation. There is no super weapon. We would have detected it, perhaps, but they believe in it strongly. Strong enough to die without talking. Then we will show them their Reaper is a lie, Thal Rex said. But hope was hard to crush. In the tunnels under Seoul, Sung Ho received a coded message. It came from the Mars colony. Light minutes away. Protocol Lazarus is active. The mask is ready. All cells begin operations in 48 hours. Sung Ho gathered his people. 200 faces looked at him in the dim light. Young and old. Men and women. Teachers and soldiers. Parents and children. Before the invasion, they had been ordinary people. Now, they were all that stood between humanity and extinction. The time has come, Sung Ho said. You all know what we have to do. You all volunteered. But I'll say it one more time. This is going to be hard. Many of us will die. Maybe all of us. But we're not doing this to survive. We're doing this to make them pay. To show them that conquering Earth was the worst mistake they ever made. Maybe all them send cry. I'm.com. We hidden is Samard. Maybe all of us. He held up a black mask. Simple design. No features. Just darkness. This is what they'll see. Not our faces. Not our names. Just this. Just the Reaper. One Reaper. Everywhere. Unstoppable. Bora stood up. When do we start? Tomorrow night. The Vraxians have a supply depot on the western edge of the city. 50 soldiers guard it. We're going to kill them all. And we're going to make it look like one person did it. The next night, Sung Ho and 15 others moved through the ruins. They wore black. They wore the masks. They carried whatever weapons they could find. The Vraxian depot sat in an old industrial area. Lights blazed. Guards patrolled. The aliens felt safe. They were wrong. Sung Ho's team struck from 6 directions at once. Silent kills. Knives in the dark. One guard fell. Then another. Then 5 more. By the time the Vraxians realized they were under attack, half their number was dead. The remaining Vraxians fired blindly into the darkness. They saw shapes moving. Black figures. Masked faces that showed nothing. How many attackers? A Vraxian officer shouted. I don't know. They're everywhere. But they weren't everywhere. They were just 15 people. Moving fast. Coordinating perfectly. Making it look like 100. When the sun rose, all 50 Vraxian guards were dead. Sung Ho's team had lost 3 people. But they left no bodies behind. No evidence except Vraxian corpses and a symbol spray-painted on the wall. A skull. Simple and crude. When Thal Rex heard the news, he was furious. 50 soldiers! How could 50 soldiers die to a resistance cell? The survivors from nearby posts say they saw a figure in black, an officer reported, moving impossibly fast, killing without sound. They're calling it the Reaper. Kivara examined the scene later. She walked through the depot, studying the bodies. The kills were efficient, but not superhuman. This was not one person. This was a team, a well-trained, well-coordinated team. But the Viraxian soldiers believed it was one person. Fear was spreading through the occupation force. In her interrogation cell, Da-Un heard about the attack. The guards talked about it in frightened voices. She smiled through her broken teeth. The Reaper, she whispered to herself. Good. Let them be afraid. A Viraxian guard heard her. You know about this Reaper? Da-Un looked at him. Even beaten, even chained. She looked dangerous. Everyone knows about the Reaper. It's why you've already lost. You just don't know it yet. We killed your world. You killed our home. Da-Un agreed. And now you'll learn what humans do when they have nothing left to lose. You'll learn why the Reaper doesn't need a face, why it doesn't need a name, why it will never stop hunting you. The guard stepped back. There was something in her eyes. Something that made him afraid. You've won nothing, Da-Un said softly. God help you all. The Viraxian mining colony on Titan had 3,000 soldiers. It produced fuel for the occupation fleet. It was supposed to be safe, far from Earth. Deep in the outer solar system, on the morning of day 97 after Earth fell, the colony went silent. Thal Rex received the report in his command center. What do you mean, silent? All communications stopped, the officer explained. No response to hails. No automated systems reporting. Nothing. Send a ship to investigate. 2 days later, the investigation ship arrived at Titan. What they found made even battle-hardened Viraxian soldiers feel sick. 3,000 bodies. Every single colonist and soldier. Dead. The Viraxian captain walked through the corridors in shock. His soldiers had no answer. The kills were brutal but precise. Throats cut. Spines severed. Some shot with Viraxian weapons taken from the first victims. No alarms had been triggered. No distress signals sent. The entire colony had died in silence. In the command center, painted on the wall in dark Viraxian blood, was the symbol. The skull. And words written underneath in Viraxian script. The Reaper remembers Earth. The captain sent an urgent message back to the fleet. The colony has been eliminated. All personnel dead. This was not a resistance cell. This was a massacre. Request immediate reinforcements. The Reaper is real. When Kivara saw the report, she knew something had changed. 3,000 trained soldiers didn't die to one person. But the evidence suggested incredible coordination and planning. She flew to Titan herself to investigate. What she found troubled her deeply. The security footage, she asked the technician. Show me. The technician was nervous. Most of it was erased, but we recovered some fragments. The screen showed a hallway. Empty. Then a figure in black appeared. Masked. Moving with trained efficiency. It killed 2 guards in seconds. No wasted motion. Professional. Freeze that, Kivara ordered. Measure the height. The computer analyzed the image. Subject height. Approximately 1.7 meters. Kivara nodded and moved to the next clip. Another hallway. Different section of the colony. Another masked figure in black. Same efficiency. Same brutal skill. Measure this one. Subject height. Approximately 1.85 meters. Kivara felt something cold in her chest. Show me all the recovered footage. Over the next hour, she watched fragments from across the colony. Always the same black outfit. Always the same mask. Always the same skull symbol. But the figures were different heights, different builds. One clip showed a Reaper moving with the speed of youth. Another showed one moving with the careful precision of age. It's not one person, Kivara said quietly. Ma'am? The technician asked. The Reaper. It's not one being. It's multiple operatives. Maybe dozens. Maybe hundreds. All wearing the same gear. All using the same methods. Making it look like one entity. The technician looked confused. But why? Fear, Kivara said. If we think it's one unstoppable being, we fear it more than many mortal fighters. It's psychological warfare. She immediately sent her findings to Thal Rex. His response was dismissive. Your imagination runs wild. The humans are using our fear against us. Station additional guards at all colonies. The Reaper will make a mistake, and we will kill it. But the attacks continued. On Ganymede, a Varaxian supply station lost 200 soldiers. Witnesses reported seeing the Reaper. Fast, deadly, wearing the black mask. On Europa, a research facility went dark. 150 dead. The skull symbol painted on the reactor room door. On Mars, 3 separate Varaxian outposts were hit in one night. The survivors all described the same thing. A figure in black. Silent. Merciless. Then, on Mars, the Varaxians got lucky. A patrol cornered a Reaper in an old mining tunnel. The figure fought hard, but they were outnumbered. A Varaxian shot caught them in the leg. Then, the chest. The Reaper fell. The Varaxians approached carefully. The masked figure tried to reach for a weapon, but more shots put them down permanently. Remove the mask, the patrol leader ordered. A soldier knelt down and pulled off the black mask. Underneath was a human face. Male. Maybe 30 years old. Asian features. Scar across his cheek. Very human. Very mortal. Very dead. The patrol leader sent an immediate report. We killed the Reaper. Repeat. The Reaper is dead. Thal Rex ordered the body brought to him. He wanted to see humanity's ultimate weapon for himself. When the body arrived, Thal Rex examined it personally. Kivara was there too. She studied the body carefully. A well-trained human. Look at the musculature. The old injuries. This person was a soldier. Was, Thal Rex emphasized. Past tense. The Reaper is dead. Broadcast this across all occupied territories. Let the humans see their savior is mortal. They recorded video of the dead Reaper. They broadcast it on every channel. Earth, Mars, the Belt colonies. Everywhere humans might see. Your Reaper has fallen, Thal Rex announced. Your hope was misplaced. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. In the tunnels under Seoul, Sung-ho watched the broadcast. He saw the dead man's face. He had known him. Jae-sung, a mining engineer, before the war, a father of 2. A good man who volunteered to become a Reaper. They killed him, Bo-ra said quietly. Yes, Sung-ho agreed. Will it stop the others? Sung-ho smiled grimly. No, it will make them angrier. He was right. That night, 3 Reapers struck on Mars. Then 5 hit targets on the moon. Then 8 more attacked across the belt. The Varaxian command center exploded with reports. Reaper attack on Phobos station. Reaper sighting at Ceres colony. Multiple Reaper attacks in the asteroid belt. Thal Rex stared at the reports in confusion. We killed the Reaper. I saw the body. An officer spoke nervously. Sir, we're receiving footage from Ceres. The Reaper there was killed by our forces. They removed the mask. It's a human female. Different person. Show me. The screen displayed a dead woman. Young. Maybe 25. Asian features. Short hair. She wore the same black outfit. The same mask lay beside her. Another Reaper? Thal Rex said slowly. More reports came in. A Reaper killed on Titan. Male, elderly. Had to be at least 60. A Reaper killed on Europa. Female. Couldn't be more than 18. A Reaper killed on Enceladus. Male, missing an arm but fought anyway. Kivara watched the evidence pile up. Her theory was proving correct. It's not one person. It never was. It's a designation. A role that multiple humans fill. Thalrex slammed his fist on the table. How many? How many Reapers are there? No one could answer. That night, Kivara couldn't sleep. She went to her office and pulled up all the data. Every attack, every sighting, every report. She built a timeline. The attacks were too coordinated, too widespread. This wasn't random resistance, cells using the same name. This was organized, planned. There had to be a central coordination. See, she thought back to the message they had intercepted when Earth fell, the one from the human commander. Initiate Protocol Lazarus. She ran a search through human mythology. Lazarus, a man who died and came back to life. A symbol of resurrection. And suddenly she understood. Earth had died. But from Earth's death, something else had been born. Not one Reaper. Many Reapers. Maybe thousands. All coordinated. All trained. All wearing the same face to create a legend. It was brilliant and terrifying. She wrote a report to Thalrex. In it, she laid out her theory. The Reaper was not a person but a program. Every human trained for guerrilla warfare was a potential Reaper. When one died, 10 more took up the mask. Thalrex read her report and rejected it. Impossible, he said. We would have seen evidence of such training. Our intelligence monitored Earth for years. Unless they trained in secret, Kivara argued. In deep space. In hidden facilities. After they knew we were coming. You're giving them too much credit. They're just a defeated species clinging to hope. But that night, 20 more attacks happened. Each one carried out by a different Reaper. Each one leaving the skull symbol. On occupied Earth, Da-Un finally died from her injuries. But before she died, she whispered to her guard. You killed 1 Reaper today. But 10 more put on the mask. You'll never kill us all. Never. The guard reported her words. They spread through the Vraxian ranks like poison. In the tunnels, Sung-Ho addressed a new group of volunteers. 15 people. Young and old. Male and female. All ready to become Reapers. Yezong died yesterday, he told them. He killed 40 Vraxians before they got him. He made them afraid. He made them doubt. Now, we honor his sacrifice by continuing the fight. He held up the black masks. When you put this on, you stop being yourself. You become the Reaper. You become the thing they fear in the dark. You become humanity's vengeance. One by one, they took the masks. Young Mi, a medical officer, put hers on. For Earth, she said. A teenager named Kiwan put his on. For my family. An old man named Juan put his on. For the future. Sung-Ho put on his own mask last. For everyone we lost. And everyone we'll save. In space above Mars, a Varaxian officer looked at casualty reports. In 3 months, they had lost 5,000 soldiers. Not to conventional warfare. To ghosts, wearing masks. How do we fight something we can't identify? He asked his commander. The commander had no answer. On Earth, in his command center, Thalrex stared at a map showing Reaper attacks. They were spreading, accelerating, and every time they killed 1 Reaper, more appeared, for the first time since the invasion began. Grand Admiral Thalrex felt something he had never felt before. Doubt. The black site on Europa had existed in secret for 15 years. Hidden beneath 3 kilometers of ice, it had been humanity's most classified research facility. The Varaxians found it by accident when one of their mining operations broke through into the upper levels. What they found inside changed everything. Thalrex arrived personally to investigate. With him came Kivara and a full battalion of soldiers. They descended through the ice tunnels carefully. The facility had been abandoned. But recently, there were still lights on. Computers still running. Spread out, Thalrex ordered. Find everything. Documents. Weapons. Technology. I want to know what the humans were hiding here. Kivara went to the command center. The main computer was still active. Someone had tried to delete files, but the deletion had been interrupted. Fragments remained. She started reading. Project Reaper. Classification. Maximum. Her breathing quickened. This was it. The truth about the Reaper. Over the next hour, she pieced together the story from fragmented files. What she learned made her blood run cold. 15 years ago, human intelligence had determined that invasion was inevitable. The Varaxians were coming. Humanity couldn't win a conventional war. So they started planning for unconventional warfare. Project Reaper was the result. Phase 1. Train every human in basic combat and survival. Mandatory service. Mandatory skills. Make it look like normal military service, but teach everyone to be insurgents. Phase 2. Create the legend. The unstoppable warrior. The thing that hunts in darkness. Spread stories. Build the mythology. Make the enemy afraid before they ever arrive. Phase 3. Activation. When Earth falls, every trained human receives the same mission. Put on the mask. Become the Reaper. Create the illusion of one unkillable entity by having thousands play the same role. Phase 4. Persistence. Never stop. Never surrender. Make occupations so costly that the enemy abandons the conquest. Kivara felt sick. It was brilliant. Horrifying, but brilliant. The humans had turned their entire surviving population into weapons. Not soldiers, not an army. Something worse. An idea that couldn't be killed because it lived in millions of minds. She found training footage. Thousands of humans learning to fight in darkness. Learning to kill silently. Learning to coordinate attacks. Men and women, young and old, all preparing to become Reapers. Then she found the psychological profile documents. They explained the strategy in detail. The enemy expects soldiers. They expect armies. They expect conventional resistance that can be crushed. Instead, we give them the Reaper. One name, one symbol, one legend. They will waste resources hunting for a single entity that doesn't exist. They will see death everywhere and feel safe nowhere. She continued reading. Each Reaper is expendable. Each death makes the legend stronger. The enemy kills a Reaper and feels victorious. Then another Reaper strikes. And another. And another. Eventually they understand the truth. They haven't been fighting a person. They've been fighting humanity itself. Kivara found Thalrex in the training section. He stood in a massive room filled with equipment. Mannequins wearing Vraxian armor. Weapons. Tactical displays. They trained here, Thalrex said quietly. For years. It's worse than that, Kivara said. She showed him the files on her tablet. Read this, Thalrex read. His face grew darker with each line. When he finished, he threw the tablet against the wall. They made their entire species into terrorists. No, Kivara said carefully. They made their entire species into survivors. There's a difference. Where? Where is the difference? Kivara gestured around the facility. Terrorists kill for ideology. These people kill because we took their home, because we murdered their families, because we gave them no choice. We made them into this. Thalrex glared at her. Are you defending them? I'm understanding them. That's my job. And if we don't understand this, we can't fight it. Before Thalrex could respond, an alarm blared. A soldier ran in. Sir, the facility is under attack. Impossible, Thalrex said. We have a battalion here. How many attackers? Unknown. They're hitting from multiple directions. At least, the soldier's head exploded. A bullet from somewhere in the darkness. Kivara dove for cover. Around her, Vraxian soldiers returned fire into the shadows, but they couldn't see their targets. Only muzzle flashes in the dark. Only shapes in black, moving between cover. Lights! Thalrex roared. Get the lights on. A soldier reached for the light controls. A knife appeared from nowhere and sank into his throat. He fell. A figure in black melted back into the shadows. Kivara counted the muzzle flashes. At least 10 Reapers. Maybe more. They moved like ghosts through a facility they knew perfectly. This had been their training ground. They knew every corridor, every hiding place. The Varaxian soldiers had numbers and firepower, but the Reapers had knowledge and darkness. Fall back, Thalrex ordered. Back to the entrance. The battalion retreated, fighting every step. Reapers harried them from the shadows. By the time the Varaxians reached the surface, they had lost 60 soldiers. In the ice tunnels, they regrouped. Thalrex was furious. Seal the entrance. Pump in poison gas. Kill them all. Sir, a lieutenant said nervously. We have captured one of the attackers. Bring them to me. 2 soldiers dragged forward a human. Female. Maybe 40 years old. Blood ran down her face from a head wound. But she was conscious. Aware. The black mask hung around her neck. Thalrex grabbed her by the throat. How many Reapers are there? Answer me. The woman smiled. Her teeth were red with blood. How many humans are left alive? That's your answer. Lies. Not every human is a Reaper. Every human is a potential Reaper. Every person who survives your occupation. Every child who saw their parents die. Every elder who remembers Earth before you came. We all carry the mask. 1. We're all the Reaper. Thalrex threw her to the ground. Your name. Tell me your name. Hey, 1, she said. I was a teacher. History. I taught children about wars and peace and civilization. You're a killer now. Yes. Hey, 1 agreed calmly. You made me one. Before you came, I'd never hurt anyone. I spent my life teaching children to be kind, to be thoughtful, to build instead of destroy. She looked up at him. Then you murdered my students. Every single one. Burned the school with them inside. So I put on the mask. I learned to kill, because what else was left? Kivara knelt beside the prisoner. How many others like you? How many teachers and doctors and parents who became Reapers? Hey, 1 laughed. It was a broken sound. All of us. Every survivor. Some wear the mask every day. Some wear it once and die. Some wait for their chance. But we're all Reapers. We're all the thing you made us. This is insane, Thalrex said. You can't all be fighters. Most humans were civilians. We were civilians, Hey, 1 said. Past tense. You can't be a civilian in a war of extinction. You either become a fighter or you die. We chose to fight. Kivara asked quietly. The training. How long did they prepare you? 15 years for some. Months for others. I trained for 2 years before the invasion. Weekends and nights. Told my family I was doing fitness classes. Haiwan smiled, sadly. Maybe I was. Getting fit to kill the monsters who would come for my world. Where are the other training sites? Thalrex demanded. Everywhere. Nowhere. Does it matter? The training is done. The Reapers are active. You can't stop what's already started. We. Thalrex raised his weapon to shoot her. Kivara stopped him. She's more valuable alive. We can learn from her. She's a terrorist. She's a window into how humans think, into how they fight. We need that knowledge. Thalrex lowered his weapon. Fine. Take her to the interrogation center. Make her talk. But over the next weeks, Hey-1 told them nothing new. She confirmed what the files had revealed. The Reaper was everyone. The Reaper was an idea. The Reaper was humanity's response to genocide. Kivara studied the captured data from Europa. She built profiles, maps, timelines. What she learned terrified her. Conservative estimates. 50,000 humans had received full Reaper training before the invasion. Another 100,000 had basic training, and anyone could pick up a mask and weapon and become a Reaper with minimal preparation. The Vraxians had killed Earth. But in doing so, they had created an enemy that couldn't be defeated by conventional means. How do you fight an idea? How do you kill a symbol? She brought her analysis to Thalrex. We need to reconsider this occupation, she said. Thalrex stared at her like she was mad. Reconsider? We won. Did we? Every day we lose soldiers. Every day the humans cost us more. We hold Earth, but we can't use it. We can't mine it safely. Can't colonize it. Can't extract resources. The occupation costs more than Earth is worth. We cannot show weakness. It's not weakness, it's strategy. We've conquered 47 species. None of them fought like this. The humans turned death into a weapon. They turned their own extinction into the birth of something we can't kill. Thalrex looked at the casualty reports. In 5 months, they had lost 12,000 soldiers. Not to a fleet, not to an army. To masks and shadows, and an idea that wouldn't die. What do you suggest? Kivara took a breath. I suggest we leave. Declare Earth contaminated. Quarantine the system. Cut our losses. The Empire would see it as defeat. The Empire will see it as wisdom. We eliminated humanity as a threat. Their homeworld is destroyed. Their fleet is gone. But the cost to hold what remains is too high. We take the victory and move on. Thalrex was silent for a long time. Finally, he said, I will consider it. But that night, the decision was made for him. Reapers struck across the solar system. Coordinated attacks on 27 Varaxian positions. They hit supply lines, command posts, ships in dock. The attacks were precise and brutal, and in the wreckage of each attack site, they left messages written in Varaxian blood. This is our home. Leave or die here. Thalrex read the reports. He looked at Kivara. How long until they attack the fleet itself? They may already be planning it. Thalrex stood. He walked to the window and looked at Earth below. Blue and green and broken. Beautiful, even in death. Perhaps, he said slowly, we have already won enough. Donghyun floated in zero gravity aboard the cargo ship Times Perseverance *. Around him, 15 other Reapers made final preparations. They wore maintenance uniforms, not black combat gear. Their masks were hidden in their packs. To anyone watching, they looked like normal crew, transferring cargo to the Varaxian fleet. That was exactly the point. 10 minutes to docking, the pilot said over the comm. Her name was Sujin, and she had been an engineer on Earth. Now, she flew a ship filled with bombs disguised as cargo containers. Donghyun checked his equipment one last time. Explosives, weapons, communications gear, and the mask. Always the mask. Everyone ready? He asked. 15 voices confirmed. They were ready. They had been ready since Earth fell. The Times Perseverance Times approached the Varaxian flagship slowly. The massive ship hung in orbit above Jupiter, like a dark mountain. It was Thalrex's personal vessel, now fully repaired after the Times Defiance Times had rammed it months ago. Vraxian control. This is cargo vessel Times Perseverance *. Sujin transmitted. Requesting docking permission. We have medical supplies from Earth. The Varaxians hesitated. They had grown paranoid about supply ships. Too many had turned out to be Reaper infiltrators. Hold position. We're scanning your cargo. Confirmed. Standing by. The scan took 5 minutes. Donghyun held his breath. The cargo containers were shielded, but Varaxian scanners were good. If they looked too carefully. Scan complete. Medical supplies confirmed. You're cleared to dock at Bay 7. Sujin let out a slow breath. Acknowledged. Proceeding to Bay 7. The ship slid into the docking bay. Clamps locked on. Pressure equalized. The Varaxians had no idea they had just let a bomb on board. Dong-hyun and his team exited the ship. They pushed cargo containers on maglev sleds. Varaxian guards watched, but didn't search them. The containers had passed the scan. Why waste time? This way, a Varaxian supervisor directed them. Medical storage is on deck 12. Understood, Dong-hyun said. He spoke Varaxian well. He had studied the language for 2 years, preparing for this moment. They moved through the ship. Dong-hyun counted corridors and junctions. He memorized guard positions and patrol patterns. The ship was massive. Over 6,000 Varaxians worked aboard, but he only cared about a few specific locations: the reactor, the life support, the command bridge, the escape pods. They reached medical storage. The Varaxian supervisor watched as they unloaded containers. These supply runs are becoming regular, the supervisor said conversationally. Earth is cooperating more now. Dong-hyun kept his face neutral. People need to eat. The Occupation Administration provides work. People take it. Dong-hyun. People take it. Smart. Resistance is pointless. Yes, Dong-hyun agreed. Inside, he thought about the mask in his pack. About Earth burning. About everyone he had lost. Pointless. The supervisor left them to finish unloading. When he was gone, Dong-hyun activated his comm. Team 1, in position, he whispered. Team 2, in position. Another voice confirmed. That was Bo-Ra. She had come from Earth with a different cargo ship. Team 3, in position. Sung-ho's voice. He had infiltrated, as a maintenance worker, weeks ago. Across the Varaxian flagship, 17 separate Reaper teams prepared to strike. Over 200 humans, all posing as civilians, all ready to become warriors. All teams. Dong-hyun transmitted. Execute in 30 seconds. For Earth. A chorus of voices. For Earth. Dong-hyun pulled out his mask and put it on. Around him, his team did the same. They opened the medical supplies and pulled out weapons. 30 seconds passed. Then the Varaxian flagship erupted in violence. Explosions ripped through the reactor section. Team 3 detonated their charges. Alarms blared. Varaxian soldiers ran toward the emergency. In the command center, Thalrex grabbed a console. What's happening? Sabotage, sir. Multiple explosions in engineering. Seal that section. Get damage control teams. More explosions. This time, in life support. Sir, we have boarders. Armed humans in the medical bay. Thalrex's blood went cold. How many? Unknown. They're wearing masks. It's the Reaper. Kill them. Lock down all sections. But it was too late for lockdowns. The Reapers were already inside. They had been inside for weeks, some as crew, some as maintenance workers, some as cargo handlers, all waiting for this moment. Dong-hyun and his team moved through the corridors. They shot Varaxian guards. They sabotaged systems. They spread chaos. A Varaxian soldier shot at them. The shot hit one of Dong-hyun's team. A young woman named Hae-jin fell. She had been a nurse on Mars. Dong-hyun knelt beside her. Can you move? No. Spine shot. She smiled behind her mask. Go. Finish this. We don't leave people behind. You're not leaving me. I'm staying to fight. She pulled out a grenade. Go. I'll hold this corridor. Dong-hyun squeezed her hand. Then he ran. Behind him, Varaxians rushed around the corner. Across the ship, similar scenes played out. Reapers fought and died. But each death cost the Varaxians more. Each sacrifice bought time for the others. Bo-Ra's team reached the main power distribution. They planted their last explosives. Timer set, Bo-Ra said. 5 minutes. They ran. Varaxian security was closing in. They wouldn't make it to the escape pods in time. Plan B, Bo-Ra said. She pulled off her mask and looked at her team. It's been an honor, they understood. They had always known this might be a one-way trip. When the Varaxians broke through the door, they found 4 Reapers waiting. The fight was short and brutal. The Reapers died, but so did 20 Varaxians, and 5 minutes later, the explosives detonated. The main power distribution exploded. Half the flagship lost power. In his command center, Thalrex watched his ship die around him. How many ships have we lost? 7, sir. The attacks are coordinated across the fleet. Multiple ships reporting Reaper infiltrators. 7 ships, thousands of Varaxians dead, and the humans kept coming. Kivara ran onto the bridge. Sir, we need to evacuate. The reactor is destabilizing. We cannot abandon the flagship. We cannot stay aboard a ship that's about to explode. Thalrex looked at his screens. His beautiful flagship, the pride of the Varaxian fleet, was dying. Killed by humans who wore masks and refused to surrender. Order evacuation, he said quietly. All hands, abandon ship. The evacuation was chaos. Varaxians flooded to escape pods. Some pods launched successfully. Others were sabotaged. More deaths, more losses. Donghyun reached the bridge level. His team was down to 3, but they had completed their mission. The ship was dying. Time to go, he said. They ran toward the nearest escape route. Varaxian Marines blocked their path. A firefight erupted. Donghyun took a shot to the shoulder. Pain exploded through him. He kept firing. One of his team fell. Then, another. He was alone now. Surrounded. The Varaxians advanced carefully. Surrender. One called in broken human language. You cannot win. Donghyun stood. Blood ran down his arm. He was tired. So tired. But not defeated. We already won, he said. Impossible. We still control Earth. Do you? Donghyun reached up to his mask. Slowly, he pulled it off. His face was ordinary. Scarred. Human. Nothing special. Nothing superhuman. Look at me, Donghyun said. I'm not a super soldier. I'm not an android. I'm just a man. I was an accountant before the war. I counted numbers. I filed taxes. I was boring and ordinary and forgettable. The Varaxian Marines stared at him. But you made me into this, Donghyun continued. You killed my world. You killed my wife and children. You killed everything I loved. So I put on this mask. I learned to fight. I learned to kill. And I became the Reaper. He gestured to the mask in his hand. This isn't special. It's just cloth. Anyone can wear it. Everyone does wear it. Every human who survived your invasion, every person who refuses to die quietly, we're all the Reaper. He smiled. You can kill me. But tomorrow, 1,000 more will put on the mask. Next week, 10,000 more. You can't kill us all. You can't even find us all. We're not an army you can fight. We're an idea. And ideas are bulletproof. The Varaxian Marine raised his weapon. Then, we kill the idea. You can't. Because the idea lives wherever humans survive. And we're very good at surviving. Behind Donghyun, the bridge exploded. The flagship's reactor had finally failed. The explosion tore through the ship. Donghyun smiled one last time. Then everything went white. Across human space, on every screen, on every channel, the broadcast began. It was coordinated, planned, timed perfectly with the fleet attack. Thousands of humans appeared, each wearing the black mask, each standing in different locations: Earth, Mars, the Belt, the outer colonies. And then, as one, they removed their masks. Thousands of ordinary faces, young and old, male and female, scarred and whole, angry and sad, but all human, all real. A man spoke first. My name is Jae Hyun. I was a teacher. I am the Reaper. A woman next. My name is Sun Hee. I was a doctor. I am the Reaper. Then another. My name is Woo Jin. I was a student. I am the Reaper. On and on. Thousands of voices. Thousands of names. Thousands of ordinary people who had become extraordinary through loss. The final speaker was an old woman. She looked at the camera with tired eyes. My name is G1. I was a commander in Earth's defense fleet. I watched my world burn. I watched my friends die. But I survived. We survived. And we will never stop fighting. Not in your lifetime. Not in your children's lifetime. We will hunt you across the stars until our home is free, or until the last human falls. She put her mask back on. We are the Reaper. We are humanity. And we will not go quietly. The broadcast ended. In what remained of the Varaxian fleet, panic spread. The flagship was gone. 7 other ships destroyed. Hundreds of crew revealed as Reaper infiltrators. And now this broadcast showed them the truth. There was no single Reaper to kill. There was only humanity. All of it. Every survivor. Thal Rex, evacuated to a smaller ship, watched the broadcast in silence. Then he looked at Kivara. We cannot hold this system, he said. No. She agreed. The Empire will call it defeat. The Empire will call it wisdom. We eliminated the human fleet. We broke their civilization. But the cost to hold, what remains? She gestured at the casualty reports. 15,000 dead in 6 months. And it's accelerating. By next year, we'll lose 50,000. The year after, 100,000. The humans will never stop. They've made death their weapon. Thal Rex was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, prepare the fleet for withdrawal. We leave human space. What reason do we give the Empire? Thal Rex looked at Earth through the viewport. We tell them the truth. We defeated humanity's armies. But we awakened something worse. We awakened humanity's will to survive. And that cannot be defeated with weapons. The Varaxian fleet began to withdraw. They left behind a broken Earth. Destroyed cities. Dead billions. But also survivors. Angry, determined survivors who wore masks and refused to surrender. 50 years later, human children learned about the invasion in school. They learned about the defense fleet, about Earth's fall, about the Reaper. In a rebuilt soul, G1 walked slowly to a memorial wall. She was very old now, but she still came every year. The wall listed billions of names. Every human who died in the invasion. A young girl approached her. I am. My teacher said you were the Reaper. G1 smiled. I was a Reaper. We were all Reapers. Everyone who survived. Was the Reaper real? G1 knelt down, her old bones protesting. She looked at the child with kind eyes. The Reaper was the most real thing in the universe, child. It was humanity choosing to survive. It was ordinary. People becoming extraordinary. Because they had no other choice. It was every person who put on a mask and said, not today, to extinction. The child thought about this. Could I have been a Reaper? If you had lived then? Yes. The Reaper wasn't special. That was the point. Anyone could be the Reaper. Everyone was the Reaper. That's why it worked. That's why we survived. G1 stood and looked at the memorial wall. At the billions of names. Remember them, she told the child. Remember what they died for. Remember what we fought for. And pray. We never need the Reaper again. But know that if we do. She touched the child's shoulder gently. The masks are still waiting. And humanity never forgets how to survive.